Every now and again, we'll see how Disney and Lucasfilm really provide specific retcons to some of the Star Wars trilogies out there, like the sequels, the prequels, and yes, even the original trilogy at that, and exactly what's happening now by John, Dave, other Lucasfilm creatives as well, that's really going to bring a very big change to the original trilogy that's going to be utilized in a specific Star Wars TV show. Let's get into it. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, if you guys may recall, of course, when we look at the very end of Return of the Jedi, there's a very special moment in which Luke is basically sitting next to his father, dying as the helmet comes off, you know, sharing his last few breaths before becoming one with the Force. And we never really got to learn a lot more about the backstory to this entire scene. Now, in the novelization, we do learn a little bit more about that, and we're going to be talking about how John, Dave, and others at Lucasfilm are actually changing a big element of the original trilogy, specifically in this scenario, Return of the Jedi, and how it's going to have a big impact on the Star Wars fans' perception of this moment. Now, the thing about this is that we already know that Anakin is the center of the entire Skywalker saga. He is the glue, right? He appears in each and every trilogy to an extent. You know, we hear Anakin's voice, at least in The Rise of Skywalker, so there's some kind of, you know, attachment to there as well. But there's a lot of other things that are being implemented now for the Ahsoka Tano series, and what John and Dave are doing to literally change a specific part of Return of the Jedi. Now, with Favreau and Filoni working on the latest installments of the franchise with Star Wars Ahsoka, John and Dave, along with many Lucasfilm creatives, have decided on doing something very powerful and something that will change the original trilogy. Now, in a pitch for the second season of Ahsoka by Favreau for a story piece that was meant to be used in the first season, they are planning to change the meaning of the ending of Return of the Jedi in a powerful way for fans that may be controversial to some. However, the plan is for Ahsoka Tano to return to the World Between Worlds by Season 2, where she is set to interfere with the moment that Luke Skywalker is sitting by Anakin's side, as he is dying after Luke removes the mask and/or helmet and how it's been removed. It's in this very given moment that Ahsoka opens the portal in the storyboard illustration, where she actually talks to Anakin and speaks to him directly, without Luke getting any kind of hint about it. Anakin hears her voice in his head as Ahsoka is guiding him on how to become one with the Force to join the Netherworld. In the Return of the Jedi novelization, however, it was Kenobi who taught him this power. Now, let me just pause here for a second. Now, this is where the controversy falls in line, is how, if you guys have read the novelization of Return of the Jedi, fantastic book, by the way, guys, go ahead and read it up. But in there, toward the end, you do learn that it was Kenobi's Force Ghost, guiding Anakin as he is closing his eyes just before he dies, how to become a Force Ghost, how to focus, and how to actually transfer your essence into the netherworld of the Force. That's now being changed, completely wiped out, and they're going to make it that it was Ahsoka all along that actually allowed Anakin to become a Force Ghost. Now, this is a very interesting time, or type of, I should say, of time warp. It's a very interesting time warp because, from what it seems, in the present, where Ahsoka in the show goes to the World Between Worlds, it almost comes across like Anakin never became a Force Ghost. And in this time warp, as she opens that portal and talks to Anakin, and how he hears her voice in his head, it's at that given point in time, in which time is shifted and changed, where Anakin is able to become a Force Ghost. It's a very interesting time warp. It's not like Anakin never became a Force Ghost, but it's also like in Ahsoka Season 2, what they are planning is that in present time, Anakin was never truly a Force Ghost at that point in time just yet. It's a very confusing thing, I know, and that's what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are trying to flesh out. We don't know all the specifics about how the WBW works, but the plan is to make it that Ahsoka is the one that talks to Anakin as he's dying in that Vader suit, and to become a Force ghost, essentially, moving on. So, however, John and Dave want to create a deeper resolution between Master and Apprentice, Ahsoka and Anakin. They are set out to make it canon that Ahsoka is the one who teaches Anakin on how to actually become a Force ghost properly as he is dying. Now, once Ahsoka achieves her goal, this is where things get actually interesting, is that in one of the other illustrations, Anakin's ghost enters to the world between worlds for one last view of Ahsoka before vanishing into the netherworld of the Force. Lucasfilm is set to actually use archived footage from Vader's death to achieve making this scene possible. So what you can expect is you're really going to have a lot of moments from Return of the Jedi's footage being inserted into the Ahsoka Tano series, and how Ahsoka's voice is going to reach out to Anakin. You're going to see Anakin through that portal in the WBW, through Sebastian Shaw. Alright, so Sebastian Shaw is the guy that played Anakin unmasked at the very end of Jedi. And they're going to be using older footage of that has a different angle to be used properly in that opened window in the world between worlds. Now, again, they're doing something similar in a sense in Season 1, with Ahsoka interfering with the Anakin and Kenobi duel on Mustafar, trying to change Anakin's fate, only to realize that she cannot change his fate. You know, at least in the sense of becoming Darth Vader. But in the WBW, this is the kicker here, what she is able to do is that she is able to literally allow Anakin to become one with the Force, and to become eternal, essentially. And that's a very interesting, flip side to the coin here, is that they are showing us the rules, what can be done and what cannot be done in the world between worlds. Again, this is a realm that was created by the Wills. That's the new canon that's being set up, that it was the gods, or the deities, if you will, that created the WBW, and allows certain things to happen across space and time to bring balance to the dark side and the light. Very interesting stuff. I like how they're doing this, but it is a little confusing, and I'm sure once we get everything visually instead of just on paper, it's going to be a lot more easier to kind of dissect. So this year, we're going to finally get the World Between Worlds, and then Season 2, which Jon Favreau is still pitching, and Disney is loving it so far. We're going to have more moments in the World Between Worlds, the Realm of Mortis, and yes, even getting our first view of what the netherworld of the Force, which is going to be called the Astral Plane, is really going to look like. So, anyways, guys, I would like to hear what each and every one of you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.